Chapter 24. They say it was an accident. No one's fault. Captain Smith lay down in the boat to take a nap. He was still wearing his powder bag. While he slept, a spark must have lit the powder bag. A spark from someone's pipe, from the slow match on someone's musket. The powder caught fire and exploded. It seared the flesh right off his leg. In agony, Captain Smith leaped overboard to cool the burn. His leg was so badly injured, and he was so weak that he nearly drowned before the men could pull him out. When Captain Smith comes back to us, he is crazed with pain, moaning in a delirium. 3 men carry him into the fort. The flesh on his thigh is burned black and red, the skin hanging, ragged and oozing. He is our fallen leader, and he has fallen all the way down. The doctor gives Captain Smith medicine to ease the terrible pain, and it makes him sleep most of the day. When he is awake, I bring him food and water. When the doctor changes his bandages, I give Captain Smith the handle of a wooden spoon to bite on so that he can endure the pain. I'm surprised he's not bitten through the wood yet. It is so awful to see him in so much agony. I wish his bandages, rinsing out the blood and ooze, and hang them to dry. One of the soldiers tells me that before he was injured, Captain Smith was able to make peace with Parahunt, the werewolf of a village that has been ransacked by our colonists. But, the soldier confides in me, the peace cannot last. There has been too much killing on both sides, and everyone is too angry. One day I bring Captain Smith a drink of water. As I help him to sit up, he goes pale, and beads of sweat break out on his face. I keep hold of the goblet in case he blacks out. "They have cut off my hands and cut out my tongue," he says in a hoarse whisper. I shake my head. I don't know if he's fully awake or in a delirium. I want to tell him that he still has his hands and tongue. "But, sir—" "Go get Richard," he says. I run down to the river where Richard is preparing fish nets. "Richard," I call out, "come quickly." He splashes through the water to meet me. I am panting, out of breath. "What is it? Is it Captain Smith?" he asks. No, he has not died. He is saying strange things. He asked for you." We both run up the riverbank to the fort. We enter the cabin quietly. "Sir, we are both here, me and Richard," I say. "Good," he says without opening his eyes. He takes a deep breath as if he's gathering his strength. "They have taken away my power here," he says. "I can no longer use my hands and my words to help the colony. There is nothing more I can do. I will return to England." His words hit me like a punch in the stomach. "Return to England?" "Richard," he says, and Richard stands up straighter. "You will accompany me to England. I saw how you cared for Reverend Hunt in his illness, and I know you will do the same for me. We will leave with the next departing ship." "Samuel," he says. His eyes open and turns his head to look at me. "You are one of the few original settlers left alive. I chose you for a reason. I know how hard it would be here in the New World, and that only the toughest and strongest would survive. Reverend Hunt told me you were a fighter, full of anger and energy. I knew you would make a good settler, and you have. You will be fine here without me. You have your skills, building, farming, hunting, and you have your Algonquian language. You will stay because the colony needs you. I release you from your servitude." I am too stunned to speak. I feel as though I have been dropped from a great height and have landed on my feet, but I don't know where I am. "But I am your page," I say softly. "Who will I be without my master?" Captain Smith shakes his head and continues. "To make sure no gentleman decides to grab you up as his servant, I have apprenticed you to John Leyden. You will become a carpenter in your own right." I am filled with both sadness and wonder. Reverend Hunt was right. I will not always be a servant. But Captain Smith and Richard both leaving me at the same time? It seems as if I have finally learned to be a friend, to open my heart and care, and now they'll both be gone when the ships sail. I take a deep, shuddery breath. "Yes, sir," I say. It is the only thing I can think of to say. In the weeks before the ships are ready to leave, it is time to bring the harvest, gather oysters, and bring in hauls of fish and meat, and smoke it all so that it will last the winter. But without Captain Smith to lead us, the men shirk their work. And the gentlemen seem to have but one purpose in life: to make sure Captain Smith goes back to England as a man accused of many wrongs, rather than as a hero who saved our colony from the extinction. They spend their time gathered in meetings, making lists of accusations against him. They do not even realize that Captain Smith's last act, making peace with Parahunt, has saved their skins, for now. I feel as though there is a noose closing in around Jamestown, ready to strangle all of us here. Chief Powhatan is angry about the coronation fiasco. The new settlers have attacked Indian villages and made enemies where we used to have friends. We have too many settlers to feed, and yet hardly anyone is working to store food for the winter. And we are about to lose Captain Smith. I can see why Captain Smith wants to take Richard with him. Truly, only the strongest and toughest will survive what is coming. I wonder if I have what it takes. There is one bright spot in all of this. Anne Leyden will soon have her baby. She is very happy to have other women here now, including a midwife, and children to hold and admire as she waits for her own to arrive. It will be the first child born in our colony. Anne says if it is a girl, they will name her Virginia. I have learned something important from Reverend Hunt. When I lose someone, I should not close my heart to everyone, but should find someone else to fill the empty place. Captain Smith and Richard will soon leave, but I will still have my friends living nearby, Namintak, Kainta, and Pocahontas. And here in Jamestown, Anne and John Leyden are becoming like my new family. When their baby arrives, he or she will be like my little brother or sister. "Get the midwife, now, quickly!" A large woman, barely done tying her apron strings, goes running to the cabin John and Anne Leyden share with 2 other families. The men and children are ushered out, and we begin the long wait. John Leyden paces, his face a mask of worry. "She'll be all right," I tell him. But I know that birthing kills so many women and babies that John has reason to worry. The hours tick by. I go off to chop some wood, then come back and wait with John. We hear screams from the cabin, and crying out in the pain of childbirth. Finally, we hear the lusty wail of a newborn baby. John runs to the door of his cabin and pounds on it. "Let me in," he demands. "You wait," the midwife calls back to him, "and then you can see your baby girl." John laughs and cries at the same time. "It's a girl," he explains. "The baby is alive, and it's a girl." Then his face darkens, and he pounds on the door again. "And what of my wife?" he shouts. "Is she well?" Yes, she is brave and she is well," the midwife announces. John sighs with relief. "They're both alive," he says, almost incredulous. "My wife and my baby girl." A few weeks later, I am one of the first people Anne allows to hold baby Virginia. She is so tiny, so delicate. Her eyes move, looking at the ceiling above me, and she smiles sweetly, as if she is seeing angels. Anne says she's just making faces because she has gas. I offer Virginia my finger. She grasps it and holds it tight. As I look at her, I feel sad. I feel the coming doom. How will she survive the hard times that will soon be upon us? Virginia blows bubbles and grasps my finger even tighter. You must hold on this tightly to life, I whisper to her.